Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. You're watching College Infotech, and in this video we'll be learning about the basic terminologies and commands used in Git. So starting off, first we'll discuss the basic terms that will be used in Git. The first term is repository or repo. Now what does this mean? It actually means folder. That's what a repository means. Simple, right? Moving on to the next one. Commit. So commit is basically a message that we give in Git whenever we make and save a changes. So a commit also stores the date and time at which we made the changes to the file or the code. Okay. Now after commit we have branch. Branch, like I told you in the previous video, is a separate line of development like here and here. Okay, moving on to the next one, we have merge. Whenever we have completed our work in the two different branches, then we merge those branches so that they can be made into a single code file. That's when we use merge. After that is pull request. Pull request is basically an request made to merge the two branches. It looks like this, and we'll be learning how to create pull request in the video later. So moving on to the next one, we have remote. Now what does remote mean? Remote means a common file that is shared among your team members or the collaborators who are working on the same project. This common file is usually hosted on a platform such as GitHub. Okay, so that's what is the meaning of remote. Meaning of origin. So origin is basically the local file that is stored in your system. Conflict. Now whenever we have two different branches and we want to merge them, but both of them have separate codes, then they can't be merged, right? Because to merge a branch, the code should be similar but changes should be added to the code. Then only the branches can be merged. But if both the files are totally separate, then how will we merge them? Like first it was hello world, then we changed it to hello cat in the ABID branch, and in the main branch we changed it to hello dog. Now if we try to merge these two things, then it can't be merged because a conflict arises. That is what is the meaning of conflict in Git. Now here are some few GitHub things that you need to know. So fork. Fork is basically a personal copy of somebody else's repository, somebody else's file on GitHub to your GitHub account. It looks like this, and there will be an option of fork whenever you want to make a copy of the repository to your GitHub account. Okay, I'll show you in the video. GitHub pages. Now suppose you have made a website, okay, and you want to host it. Now there are many other platforms also where you can host static websites. So if you want to host any static websites, then what you have to do is there is an option of GitHub pages present in GitHub. So if we use that option, then we can easily host our website, our static website on GitHub itself. Okay. Now here I'll be explaining to you about the concept of stage and what is a staging area. See, whenever we make some changes to files or we want to upload any new files to GitHub, what we have to do is we have to first send these files to a staging area. Staging area is nothing but a place where try to save the data, what file was sent to GitHub and at what time. So this file suppose is sent to the staging area. Now after it goes to the staging area, commits have to be made. Like I told you that commits are basically a snapshot or picture of the changes that were made or new file that was uploaded. Okay. So we made our changes, we added a message like new file or file updated, and after that we use the command git push. This git push command then pushes it to the repository present in the GitHub. So this is how the staging area and git push commands work. Similarly, there is the git pull command. Okay, in the git pull command, suppose some team member of yours made a changes in the already existing file and in the origin, that is in the your local file, you don't have that changes, but it is present there in the GitHub. So how will you bring the changes that are present in the GitHub in that file to your files? You use the git pull command. Okay, the old file to new file was done in the GitHub, and you use the git pull command. By using the git pull command, the changes in the files were made. Okay, so that's how you take changes from GitHub to your files. Okay, now git push and git pull are clear, right? Moving on to the next concept, we have using git. See, before I go to git commands, I'll tell you one thing, that is git can be used using a GUI, graphical user interface, like in Windows there is, right? We click and there's a window that opens and it only tells us what we have to do, like there are multiple options, or we use the command line. See, git GUI looks like this: create a new repository, clone an existing repository, open existing repository. Okay, that's how git GUI works. You can either use GUI or you can use command line. I'll mostly recommend you to use the command line because it helps you gain a more knowledge about git. Okay, so in this video I'll be explaining to you about the commands that we'll be using in the git command line, and I'll also tell you how to use the git GUI. Git GUI is very simple and you'll be able to master it like within 2-3 minutes itself, but mastering git command line interface takes some time. Okay, so now let's move to our computer screen where we'll be utilizing the commands one by one, and I'll be showing it to you. So guys, now that we are on our computer screen, I'll tell you what we'll be doing. Firstly, we'll be creating some files that we'll be uploading on GitHub. Then we'll be changing those files on our system and we'll then upload those changes to GitHub. After that, and then download those changes to our file in our local system. Okay, and we'll also create some pull requests and merge them to the branches directly. So is that clear what we'll be doing now? Firstly, we'll be creating some folder. Now let's name the folder as tutorial. In the tutorial folder, I'll create some new files. Okay, like 1.txt and 2.txt. Okay, now that we have created some files, we'll upload these two files on GitHub. Now how will we do that? We'll do that by using git and git commands. Now, what are the places in which you can run these git commands? There are actually two options. First, you can use the git bash. You can find it here, the git bash. Second, you can use the terminal. Okay, now firstly I'll show you the git bash interface and then we'll go to terminal to code there. Okay, this is the git bash interface. It is similar to the terminal interface itself, and there's not much difference between git bash and terminal. Okay, so now let's go to our terminal where we'll use the git commands. If you're using the older versions, you can use the command prompt by typing cmd, or you can use terminal in Mac, or if you're using the Windows 11, you can directly use the terminal itself. Okay, we'll go to our terminal. Now, if you are in Mac or if you're using the newer version of Windows, then you can directly go to the folder by clicking this open in terminal option. But if you're using older versions, then you have to manually go to the folder in the terminal. Okay, so how will we go to the folder manually? We'll use the cd command to go to the folder. Guys, by default, we are in a root directory and you have to go to the folder that is present on desktop. So by using the cd command, we have to do that. CD stands for change directory and it is used to modify the folder or look into the folders. Okay, so cd, the folder name. So first we have to go to desktop, right? Type desk and you can click tab. Okay, it will autofill the repository name or the folder name like this. Press enter. Now you are in desktop. Now in desktop, the folder name is tutorial. type cd tut and tutorial folder name has come up. Press enter, and now we are in the tutorial folder. In this folder, we'll initialize the Git repository that has a .git extension or the .git name. Okay, so we will do that by using the git init command. The git init command initializes the .git folder. Okay, and the .git folder is a hidden folder. You'll not be able to see it. And the .git folder manages and stores your code, and if any changes have been made to the code, then it automatically updates that changes have been made, and that's how it is connected to GitHub. That is a code platform on which your file is stored. Okay, so we'll initialize the git by using the git init command. You always have to use this git init command in the folders in which your files are stored in. Okay, so my files are currently stored in tutorial folder, so I am initializing the git in tutorial folder. Okay, so press enter, and here you can see this message: initialized empty git repository in this path. Okay, now that the .git folder has been made, I'll show you. So we'll go to our tutorial folder, and here you can see that there is nothing here. Okay, we use the git init command, but nothing came. Actually, it is a hidden folder. So to view it, you have to click on this options, and in the view section, you have to click this option: show hidden files, folders and drives. Click on apply, and now you can see that this folder is present, right? Okay, now after using git init, I told you about the concept of staging, right? So what we'll have to do is we'll have to stage some files so that they can be committed and sent to GitHub after commits have been made to them. So we'll have to stage the files. To stage the files, you have to use this git add command, and then you have to add the file name that you want to stage specifically. You can use the dot operator if you want to stage all files that are present in this folder. I'll show you by using this that all files can be added to the stage. Press enter. Now, how will we see that if files have been added to the stage or not? We need a confirmation, right, that they have been added. So for that purpose, there is a command called git status, and this tells you that the files have been staged or not. The green files shown here are the files that are ready to get committed. That means they have been staged. Okay, now if you want to remove the file from the stage, all files from the stage, then you have to use this command git reset. And now if we use git status command, then here you can see that these files are now in red. That means these are untracked files and they are not there in the stage. Firstly, you have to take these files to the stage, commit them, and then only we can push them to our GitHub, right? Isn't that correct? So I just want to add specific files. So how can I do that? We just use this command git add and type the specific file name, like 1, press tab, it'll autofill it and enter. Now if we use git status now, here you can see that one file has been staged and 2.txt has not been staged, because in the git add command only 1.txt was mentioned, right? So now since the file has been staged, what is left? Commit has been left. You guessed it correct, guys. So we'll use the git commit command. Git commit and the message. Now what should be the message? Let's type first upload. Okay. Now here you can see that master is basically the name of the branch in which you are in. I told you about the branches, right? By default, whenever you install Git, you will be in default master branch. Here you can see that one file has been changed and 0 insertion and 0 deletions are there. What does this mean? 0 insertion and 0 deletions? Actually, they tell if any file has been added or any file has been changed or not. So here 0 insertion and 0 deletion means that a new file has been added. create mode, this. Okay. So now it looks kind of messy, right? Like you have to scroll, this many commands are there. To clear the screen, you have to type cls command if you are in terminal in Windows specifically. Okay. Press enter and the screen will get clear. Okay. So now we have committed the changes. After committing the changes, what is left is setting the remote URL. I told you that remote files are the files that are hosted on a specific platform like GitHub. And we need a remote URL for that so that our local system files can be linked to those files that are present in the GitHub. Isn't that correct? So what we have to do? We have to create the remote file in GitHub. So we'll go to GitHub. We'll go to this repository section, means the folder section. Here you can see that we don't have any public repositories yet. So we'll just create a new public repository. We'll type any name, tutorial. For description, we'll just write tutorial itself. Now these are two options. Public option means that anyone can view your files on the internet, whereas private option allows you to specify members who can commit to these files. Okay. Now I'll be keeping this public, guys. So here you can see one more option is there. Initialize this repository with a readme file. Readme file is basically the file which tells the other user who's working on the same project as yours that what and all changes you made and how you should handle the code. That's what a readme file is for. Okay. We'll simply click on create repository and a repository has been created. A remote file has been created in our GitHub and this is its URL. You need to pay attention to this URL, guys, and this is the important thing here. We'll copy this URL and if we scroll down below, we can see that there are multiple commands written here. Isn't that correct? For now, just ignore these commands, guys. I'll explain these commands to you in the video itself. Okay. Now we copied the URL. We just have to add or set the URL. How can we do that? We can do that by using git remote add origin and the URL. If we press enter, the remote URL has been set. So now I'll explain to you this command. Git remote, the file on GitHub, add origin from our computer to this URL. That's what is the meaning of this command. Now after we have set the URL, we have to set the branch. Okay. You can directly use the master branch itself. There is no problem with that. But we saw in our GitHub, I'll show you that there is this option or command called get branch main. So they're telling us that by default main branch has been selected. You can directly push it using the master branch itself. I'll show you here. Okay. Now if we use the git push command, your folders will be uploaded to GitHub in the master branch itself. Okay. So now guys, we'll be using the git push command. Okay. Git push origin main. That means Git is telling that it has to push the files from origin to the main branch. But is it in the main branch? No, right? It's in the master branch. So it should be master. Okay. We'll press enter. Now, here you will see something interesting, guys. Enumerating objects, 3 done, counting objects, this, writing objects, this, something and all is written. Now, here you need to pay attention to this. HTTPS, GitHub, this. That means the files have gone to this URL and it has made a new branch called master. Okay, that's where it has been stored. Okay, now we'll see in our GitHub file if the changes have been reflected or not. Just reload the page. And here you can see in the master branch the changes have been made, that is the file have been uploaded there. And what's the commit that we made? First upload. So it has been done. Okay, now moving on to the next one, that is changes in the file that will be uploading. I'll change this file. I'll just type hello git. Now we made some changes in the files, right? And we need to upload these changes to GitHub file. How will we do that? Wait, did I save the file? I'll just check once again. Yeah, I saved the file, guys. I'll close the file now. I'll go back to my terminal. And now I'll type the command git add 1, press tab and press enter. Now, why did we write this command, guys? Because we made changes in the 1.txt file, right? So we have to add the files in which changes have been made. Now if we use git status, type in the comment section what will be shown. If we use git status now, here you can see, guys, that modified is showing. In the previous command that we did, it was showing new, right? But here it's showing modified. That means some changes have been made in this 1.txt files. Now if we use git commit now, what's the message that needs to be typed? Changed. Isn't that correct? We press enter and here you can see that one file changed and one insertion was made. See, I told you, guys, that if any changes have been made to the code, then this thing will be shown, one insertion or deletion. Okay, now changes have been made. The file was already staged using the git add and was committed. Now what's left is that it needs to be pushed to the master branch or the GitHub. Now we'll type the command git push. From where is it being pushed, guys? It's being pushed from the origin, right? That is from your local system. So origin to which branch? To the master branch. The command has been completed. We'll press enter. And yeah, here changes have been made to the file and done. Okay. Now we'll see in our GitHub if the changes have been reflected to the file or not. I'll reload the repository, click on this file, and here you can see that hello git has been added. Now moving on to the next point, that if somebody else had changed your file, that means if you're working on a project, then you'll be working with many people, right? And they will be working on the same code. And if they change that code, then how will you bring those changes to the file in your local system? Now let's suppose some guy wrote some comment like EA, committed those changes, and this file was changed by some other guy. And how will you know that changes have been made to your file or not? Or if any changes have been made to the file in the GitHub? First, let me clear the screen, guys. So now, guys, we'll use this command git pull to origin from the master branch. We'll press enter. No, we won't do that. Before doing that, I'll help you understand what this code does. This code pulls the changes and merges them to your file. Now, what are the changes that we made to the file on GitHub? Ye comment was added by some other person, suppose. Isn't that correct? So now we want that comment to be added in our file as well. To do that, we use this command. Now we'll press enter. And here you can see that 3 plus plus means some insertions were made, 2 insertion and 1 deletion was it's showing. That means some changes have been made to the file. Now we'll see the file, guys, if any changes have been made to the file or not. Now type in the comment section, guys, what do you think? The changes will be made or not? Yeah, the changes have been made, guys, and this comment has been added to our code, right? So we completed this topic, that how to download changes from the file on GitHub. Now I'll tell you about branches. In the previous video, I had told you that we can create multiple branches in Git and work on the code separately. That is, create a separate line of development itself. Okay. So to create a branch, you just need to type this command, git branch, and the branch name if you want to create a new branch. Okay. Suppose I want to create a dangerous branch. Okay. Dangerous is just the name, guys. It's not actually dangerous. Okay. We'll press enter, and how will we see that what and all branches are there and what is the active branch? We'll see that by using the git branch command. We'll press enter, and here you can see that there are two branches in this code repository, and the active branch is master, as green has been shown here. Okay. So we want to move to the dangerous branch because we are working in a dangerous branch now. So how can we move between branches? We can move between branches by using the git checkout and the branch name, that is dangerous. Yeah. Now here you can see that the branches have been switched. So switch to branch dangerous. We got a confirmation, guys. Now I want to add that second txt file in this branch. Okay. Now to do that, what we have to do? We have to use the git add command, guys. You guessed it right. Git add the file name, that is 2. Click tab and it will autofill. Press enter. Use git status to check if the file have been staged. Yes, the file has been staged. Now commit the file by using the git commit. Git commit. And what should be the message? I am in dangerous branch. Yeah. Press enter, and here you can see that one file has been changed, 0 insertion, 0 deletion. That means it's a new file. Here you can see itself, it's a new file. After committing the changes, what's left? Pushing the code, right? So git push. From where? From origin to which branch? To the dangerous branch, right? Yeah. Done. And here you can see the changes will be made to the new branch, that is dangerous branch. The changes have been made. Now we had created a branch called dangerous. Now what will happen? Will it contain the 1.txt as well? Comment, guys, comment. We'll just reload it. Now if we go to dangerous branch, here you can see that there are two files. So the people who mentioned that 1.txt will be there, good for them, guys. So yeah, 2.txt has been added to the dangerous branch, and that's how we move and work between branches. Now what if somebody made changes in this branch and we just want to pull changes from this branch itself? You can use that. You can go through the same procedure again. Like, I'll just change the file. I'll just add a comment or a code. I'll just type how's life. I'll commit changes and done. Now somebody made changes. Now I want to pull those changes from the dangerous branch. Just use this command, git. Wait, you'll get confused because there are a lot of codes written here, right? I'll clear the screen. Git pull to origin from which branch? Oh, or origin it's written. No, it should be origin, right? Git pull origin from the dangerous branch. Just type the branch name correctly, press enter, and you'll see magic. You'll see that Yeah, one insertion has been made and changes have been made to the file successfully. So guys, now that you have finished your development, that means you want to merge these two separate line of developments to a single branch. How will you do that? You can do that by creating a pull request. Okay, so if we go back to a master branch, you'll see, oh, it's showing 4 of 4, page not found. Just return to the repository, and here you can see there's something popping. It's showing compare and pull request. See, if any changes have been made to the new branches or you just want to merge those branches, it will automatically detect those changes and suggest you that you have to create a pull request. Or you can directly create a pull request by going to this pull request section, clicking on new pull request, and from you want to create pull request from which branch to which branch? From the dangerous branch to the master branch. Isn't that correct? Yeah, everything looks fine. We'll just click on create pull request. We'll add a commit like merge me and done. Now a pull request will be sent to the main owner if he wants to accept or not. Now if you are the main owner, you'll see that this pull request has been sent to you. And it depends totally on you if you want to accept that pull request or not. You can see what and all changes are made by clicking on this file change section, and it will show you what and all changes have been made to the files. Go back to conversations and click on merge request. Do you want to go with the same commit? Yeah, I'll go to the same. I'll go with the same commit that has been made by clicking on confirm merge option. And that's how you have successfully merged the two branches. Isn't that correct? Like and share guys, and please subscribe this channel too.